get your partner to make more plans when they just never do? I'm here with Elizabeth Wood from bedevents.com, and I'm Cathy Vartuli from theintimacydojo.com. And that can be so frustrating. If you're someone who loves to have things planned ahead and uh, your partner just doesn't do that, that it can feel unloved and uncared about, even if they do it, it's just not their self-expression. I remember I went out on a date with someone once, and they didn't tell me where we were going for dinner, and I was like, oh, that's kind of romantic. They're just going to take me somewhere, and then they're like, where do you want to go? And I was like, that's
Oh
not
no.
romantic. Like, that's like, no, that's not what I expected. So, if,
I think it's a great question because if that's her skill set, I mean, if one of the two partners, their skill set is stronger in making plans, finding like really unique things to do, and sort of is in charge of that area, like how does your partner then step in, knowing that you're pretty specific and you have absolute ideas. I think that other partner might be like, well, what if you don't like it?
yeah,
Like I think he or she likes Mexican, but I'm kind of afraid to take her there. So what I might suggest is throwing out like, wow, there's this new restaurant that I really want to try. Perhaps you could make some reservations. Let that partner have a win, and kind of not. I'm not saying force feed, but kind of feed them some of the information so that they can have that win, and you guys have a great time.
hmm I think it's important too, if you do that, to not criticize if it's not like, why did you make it at 7 instead of 7:30? Or I didn't want to go on Friday, I wanted to go on Saturday. Like, it's really easy. I like to be very organized. I like to plan things, and I think when we have people like that, other people will kind of abdicate some of that power and responsibility, partly because they don't want to get it wrong all the time.
Oh,
Um,
and there's nothing worse than being criticized. So I absolutely agree with you. Like, just remember that what they've done is they went out of their comfort zone and they tried to create something that you were really going to enjoy. And that's the thing that you appreciate in addition to spending time with your partner.
Yeah, I mean, Reed Mahako does something really cool. He calls it cats versus dogs, and this really resonated for me. I'm a cat. I feel like people care about me when they show they were thinking when they weren't about me when I wasn't around. So like, hey, I got you this thing. I was on this trip and I got you this gift because I was missing you. Or I was thinking how much fun it would be to go out on Friday night, so I made plans. Is that okay? Like, oh, you love me. Versus a dog is someone who's like just happy that you're there. They're like here. They don't think about you till the key turns in the door, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy you're here! So happy you're here!" And a lot of people like that don't want to make plans because they're very in the moment, and so they're like, "Well, I didn't know if you want Mexican on Friday or Chinese." Versus a cat's like, "I wanted you to be thinking about it. I don't care so much about the restaurant as I get my love feeling from that." But I think explaining that can be powerful to someone who's not a planner. It might be like, oh, you're feeling loved when I do that. Versus I wanted to do such a good job. I was like waiting till the moment of it happening. So I think it's partly just a different perspective and a different way of people looking at it.
Absolutely. And explaining that, having that conversation ahead of time so that they know the result of them doing something, of them going outside of their comfort zone,
Yeah.
how that makes you feel. It's like, how can that not possibly make the planning partner like, oh, it makes my partner feel like so attended to
Yeah.
or so loved. So yeah, absolutely. Way to go, Reed. Cats and dogs.
Yeah. So he has a handout on it if you search cats and dogs on readaboutsex.com. But I do think like part of it is we tend to fall into our strong suits when we're in relationships, and we're like, oh, that person's really good at paying the bills, we'll just let that happen, it's so much easier. And that person's better at getting the things fixed around the house, and that will just happen. Versus, okay, we both can be good at it. Maybe we default to one, but we both can be the planner. And part of that's like, okay, let it be an adventure. I don't have to have it turn out just the way I thought it might look. um, Kind of being swept away and letting someone else be responsible for things is delightful.
Absolutely. And that whole, back to that conversation, I think that it alleviates so much pressure and so much resentment because I love to organize. I like to deep if I'm going to another country or another culture, and I try to find people who know somebody there so I get with the locals. And that's how I feel. I get really energized about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my strong suit. So don't take resentment out on my partner when basically, well, like just this phase, I planned the whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's paying for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I think like really owning your strengths and then not holding it against your partner if that's not his or hers is also another way kind of.
Absolutely. The fact that I love to plan things, and it's like really fun when people are aligned, like, hey, go ahead and plan it. I want to be part of that. I want to participate. And sometimes I get tired and I have to speak up and say, hey, honey, I love normally planning all our stuff, but I would love it. We have date night Friday night starting at 7. I would like from 7 p.m. to midnight, I want you to plan stuff. I would really feel loved and supported, like I'd let my hair down if you actually took care of things ahead of time. So it's not just like, hey, what do you want to do? I'd like to feel like you really thought about it. Would you be willing to do that? And they can ask some questions and like, well, are you in the mood for dancing or like whatever it is? But letting them like, how about this window where I don't have to plan anything and I can just go for the ride too? Because it is fun to just like, that feels so good. And it's an adventure and I have no idea what's going to happen versus I planned everything. I know exactly what's going to happen at what time.
And then just remember the whole point of the evening is to have fun with whoever the people are that are there.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm so glad that. If people have comments or questions or thoughts of their own, like how to make this work, we'd love to hear. Leave below. Congratulations on taking this time for yourself and learning these things. If you'd like to follow more of this, you can subscribe to my channel here. Social media is up here, and there's more videos of this type here. See you soon.